Hello, David. Thank you so much for agreeing to join this interview with me. I want to introduce myself again. My name is Thảo Ngọc. You call me Ngọc or Ngọc.
No.
Yeah, it's quite a hard name.
Yeah.
And I'm a student. I'm a third year student from class 1810 CCP. So I'm like the first student of the program because 1810 is like first class ever. And now I'm doing these interviews with design educators and art and design teachers, to for my assignment with Mark for Creative Enterprise, because we were required to investigate into a field in design industry, and my interest is I want to be a design educator one day. I want to be a lecturer in a university about art and design. So I really want to talk to the people who have done it to learn something from you guys, and so thank you so much. So we haven't met a lot, so can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Yes, well, I graduated in 1981 from Edinburgh College of Art in Scotland.
In Scotland? Oh, so you're Scottish?
I was Scottish.
Nice.
And since then, I've been working as a creative professionally and as an educator as well, often on depending, in different places around Britain and Moscow as well. Mm-hmm. And then here.
So now in CCP, you are teaching the first year student, right?
Yes.
You're teaching which module?
Visual studies and contemporary practice.
I remember
I
remember studying visual studies. That was a fun time. Before we had to do all this interview thing, we really do practice.
The proper stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So you said you graduated in 1991?
81.
81. Oh, so it was so ever since you've been a teacher.
No, I've worked privately as well as a consultant, and I graduated actually as a ceramicist, a designer, pottery. But my first job was a photographer, and I've been doing graphic design and photography and exhibition design my first few years after graduation, and then gradually into teaching. First of all, evening classes in photography, and then I got a job in a college teaching students below degree level, and then finally got a job in university, and then moved around different universities and art colleges in the UK, and then Russia, and then here.
And here. So you teach in 3 countries. So you say your main field of work in art design is photography?
Yes, basically, yeah. That's been dominating most of my life, if you like. But I've done design consultancy work. I've done a lot of building work. I've been a construction worker as well for a couple of years. At the moment, I'm refurbishing a property in Spain, which is going to be a studio, dark rooms, gallery, and accommodation for visitors. So I've been a builder, electrician, roofer, plasterer, everything for the past couple of years.
So you mainly work privately, which is like working as a freelancer. Have you ever worked in an agency before?
Not with agencies. I work with indirectly through agencies. In Scotland, we have quite a few big agencies, but they commission smaller agencies to carry out the work. You don't work directly with them. So I would work with, say, a graphic designer who's doing a job for an agency type thing.
I see.
Yeah, but you do come across the people in any case.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about your experience as a design lecturer. How long have you been teaching in art and design?
Probably, I would say about 30 years.
30
on and
years.
Off. Yeah.
Wow.
Different levels.
Mm-hmm.
From very, very basic up to supporting PhD students.
PhD students. Wow. That's so cool.
So it just depends. My background is quite diverse. In design, I specialised in I started specialising in design for disability. It's what we call transgenerational design as well. So design that is to do with, say, you, a very able-bodied person, might not be suitable for somebody with sort of physical difficulties or mental difficulties or whatever. So this is exploring the idea that design can be designed for all. And so instead of just designing something to suit you, you have to take into account disability and other things, so that your design becomes universal rather than for a tiny part of society.
I see.
Most design is for a tiny part of society, but it can easily be more accessible with careful consideration.
I think Richard has introduced me to that idea before. I can't remember, design for the 90% of the people. It's something about ethics.
Well, yeah, that's right. Sometimes it's impossible. It just depends on the nature of the product or service. But people tend to make a part of the population, a massive part of the population, not here, but in the UK and America, about nearly 50% of people are over the age of 50. You know, and they are very, very different needs people who are under 50. So if you don't design for them, then you are losing out on a massive market. You know, so it's, even though you're younger and setting out in design, it's important to become aware of the needs of a wider community. You know, people who design for elderly people with disabilities tend to be specialists in their field, and often not considered very much when it comes to publicising design. They might have articles in design journals, but you don't really see their work on the street. So it's almost like an invisible design field.
That's very interesting to know. So, how do you think your experience in being a freelance photographer, as you say, your working experience helped your teaching in art and design?
There's the key advantage of having industry experience is the fact that you can relate your experiences to students, real life experiences. Working freelance, you'll be working with good clients, bad clients, clients who don't know what they want, clients who know what they want but it's ridiculous. So you meet all sorts of different people, and so it's being able to learn perhaps from mistakes and advice or experience. You know, it's never a clear-cut industry, and there's always pitfalls. And like most industries, no matter what, a lot of the people in those industries are not very well trained, knowledgeable about their own field. Come from very different backgrounds, perhaps. So you've got to go into the industry being aware that not everybody's perfect. And you find very arrogant people who demand that it's done their way, and you find people who are looking for advice and support. And so you meet all sorts of different people. It's very different from, say, an education environment where everybody is the same agenda. It's pretty much, to help and support and move you on. Whereas people in the industry are not necessarily there to help you.
Yeah. So it's like having the real life experience helps you to prepare the student of the cruel reality of the working industry, huh?
Even I've been working for many years as a freelancer. I always worked freelance anyway when I was teaching. There was a company that phoned me up, and this was for Olympics in Britain. And they wanted to cover this building. And the entire building with these giant posters that cover the entire building when they're being refurbished. Like say you're refurbishing the opera, for instance. Then they put up a giant picture of the opera in front. Have you seen those kind of billboards?
I think
Yeah, you see them abroad a lot, maybe not here. Anyway, they're going to do this in Manchester, and they phoned me up because they didn't know how to go about it. And I said, right, okay, this is how you have to go about it, and I can find out the printers for you, and I can come down and print. And I said, I can't say off the top of my head, but it's probably going to cost this amount of money, right? And this really big company working for the Olympics said, will you do it for nothing?
What?
Yeah. And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. People try and exploit not just students, but also practitioners. Industry thinks that because we love and enjoy what we do, we should do it for nothing. You know, there's a lot of people out there who think that way.
Yeah. It's so not the way to think it. I mean, we spend a lot of money and effort and time on our skills, on being designers, on being a practitioner.
Yeah.
And it's nonsense to work for nothing.
Well, if you're working for nothing, you're not. You're actually paying to work for them because cost all your money, as you say.
Exactly, yeah.
The capital to build the machines, to buy the machines, the travel, and so on. So why should you pay to work for somebody else? It's meant to be the other way around.
True, it's true.
But I think that's one of the biggest hurdles. Maybe not here, but certainly in Europe.
Wow. Well, you certainly changed my mind about because I want to travel and I want to see, and I really like England and Europe in general. And in the future I want to do a master's degree, probably abroad. But after what you just said, I think I have to consider this again.
Well, I wouldn't certainly put it off. I mean, there are great opportunities, but you will come across people who expect that.
Yeah.
Or to work for a very meager sum.
I think it's the same here because there are cases when people just ask for free work, free artwork, or just pay little money for artwork and for designer because they think that because we love what we do, so this is like an advantage, like an opportunity for us to practice our skill or to have network. But no,
well, it's an opportunity for them to have something or nothing. That's the opportunity.
That is a thing. It's just fun. Oh no, it's not fun, but like. So, in your opinion, what do you think is the most challenging aspect of being an art and design teacher compared to teachers of other subjects like business, for example?
There's great advantages in teaching art and design, but as pretty much in the UK, as in here, because I was speaking to my students the other day, when you're in primary school, kindergarten, you do very little except creative things. All the activities are creative. There's no lack of paint. There's no lack of things to squidgy, sculpt, and so on. But when you get to secondary school, high school, then creativity is a small area for students. Everybody else has to do this, do that, next stage. Everything is controlled. Even for art students, there is a regime to follow, and the creativity is stilted for everyone in a school. So if somebody decides after school that they want to come and do a creative subject, then they've missed 10 years of creative activity. So it's very hard to get people to relearn how to be creative again and not to be afraid of being creative again. So that is one of the most difficult things, especially for students walking through a door. And still, even up to this point in time, you still have fears about maybe actually doing something, which is not quite the way things are done. And the other thing is preconceptions, particularly in photography. what people's experience of photography is very limited by what they see on television and the news and the magazines. Everybody thinks photography is mainly fashion photography, for instance, or like photographs of boxes or jars or something like that. You know? Whereas in actual fact, the vast majority of photography in the industry is not the photography that people see. It's the photography that business requires. Business to business activity in art and design is just as big, if not bigger, than those that the public are exposed to. So it's broadening people's horizons about what is possible. It's quite hard. People tend to stay in their comfort zone and work with what they know. So you get a double-edged sword there to try and push people in a creative direction.
I see. That is like a really, really nice answer. Thank you. I really like how the idea of preconceptions, as you say, right? Because especially here in Vietnam, we don't have a lot of chances to do creative work. So sometimes we have these kind of, well, you know, what I mean is that in high school and in secondary school, we don't even have art subjects in our curriculum. So unless we like to draw in the first place, we don't have a lot of opportunity to, to. I certainly forgot how to say this in English, like to be creative in general. And also about the preconception is usually coming from our mom and dad, from our parents, about the creative industry, working in design industry is not that stable a job. And people, especially in Asia, usually expect their children to be, well, doctor, engineer, and those stable jobs.
Every country's the same.
Every country, yeah.
But interestingly, no job in the West is stable now. You know, people are losing their jobs. Doctors and nurses are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Accountants, lawyers are losing their jobs. So at least, and this is a very important point, I think when you go through an art and design degree, it gives you a grounding in society, history, culture, that can be applied to many parts of industry. You know, if you ended up being a waiter in a hotel, you'd still be a better waiter in a hotel because of your art and design degree.
Oh, yeah.
Because you'd be able to communicate with people from all different backgrounds and experiences. You know, if you're a waiter in a hotel, and somebody says, "What's the best art gallery around here?" And you go, "Well, I'll go there, go there." No, you can build a rapport. You make maybe a relatively mundane job more interesting for you and for your customers. If you don't get into a good job in art and design, there's still plenty of other opportunities.
I see.
And banks will take people with any degree in the UK, you know, because nobody, even with a banking degree, actually knows how it all works until you actually go and get the job. So all you have to do is have a personality, be creative, be communicative, and all those things are what you get from an art design degree. You know, that's the people they want. They don't want people who have just gone through a degree and have no character, no personality, no will to be different, to learn. You know.
So yeah, yay! It's actually interesting because learning art and design prepare you like a background knowledge to help you fit in everywhere, and then like help you with the networking. Yeah. Which is like having small talks and talk about backgrounds, informations about culture, about art, stuff like that.
And it's fun.
And it's fun. It is. It's more fun than talking about numbers, math, and diseases as doctors learn, right? Okay, this is gonna be the last questions for today, which is: do you have any advice for the people who are also interested in design education and want to be design lecturer in the future?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Okay. Why so?
Key things. One, it doesn't pay very well compared to a good job, say, in a good agency or something, or a good freelance with good contacts. You'll get paid quite well. Education in the end doesn't pay that much, but it's a great thing to do. It's great fun, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I've actually given up several times, no, I've got to go back. So there's that. So if you're concerned about big house and big car and travelling all the time, then really it's not for you. But if you want to stay creative all your life and be involved in the creative environment, that supports your own practice as well. And it's great. It's absolutely brilliant. But the disadvantages is that there's another key advantage I was trying to think about, which I can't remember. There's not that many jobs. In my field of photography, if there was a job advertised in the UK for photography, then there are only, say, 40 institutions, with say maybe 5 people, key people. That's 2,000 people in the entire country who do that job.
Yeah.
So if you've got 5,000 people wanting that job, then it's quite hard.
So it's like very...
There are few jobs in education. But if you do want to have a route into education now, then you really need to have the MA and preferably the PhD. Because a lot of institutions won't touch you unless you have a PhD. So you have to be thinking that far ahead. But those institutions that have primarily PhD students don't do any practical work. Because they're research driven. And quite a lot of the PhD lecturers have no practical experience at all. That's left up to technicians. And they just do a critique. So there's kind of 2 levels to go in. There's sort of a technical level, you could be a technical support person. That's great fun as well. And there's no responsibility. You're just working with students, all the responsibilities with the lecturers. So that's a good job, actually. People stay in those jobs for quite a long time. So that's another route, is think a little bit further down the ladder. If you want to be a lecturer, you must have the MA, so that has to be part of your career plan. And if you want to be in an institution that is heavily research driven, you must have a PhD.
Thank you very much for joining the interview today.
You're welcome.
I don't know if I can learn with you in the future, but I really hope to. Because it's going to be the next term is going to be my last term here already. I don't know if we can learn with you, but I hope we can, collab more, maybe in final exhibitions or when I have some question about photography.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm here not just to help my own students, I'm here to help all students.
I actually have, my housemate actually is in the freshman class. She's the girl with the long hair girl, silver hair. Yeah, she's my housemate. She said she really like you and really like your teaching. So yeah,
That's nice.
I actually really look forward to be taught by you too. I hope there's a chance. Thank you very much. Thank you.